recordproduction.com interview with Steve Lipson.
Hello.
We're in Steve's lovely room here at upstairs at SARM West. How long have you had this room, Steve?
8 months.
So it's all quite new.
Quite new.
Where were you before?
I was in Willesden. I had a huge setup in Willesden. Very inappropriate for nowadays.
Right. What did you have there then?
I have 5 rooms, I think. I worked with an engineer I've worked with for 25 years. Did you ever meet Hef?
Yes.
Yeah, Hef. And anyway, it's not the right climate for that behaviour. It's a different climate now. Mm. So this room felt more appropriate. Mm.
You've actually had your own room for quite a long time. You're probably one of the first people to build a producer room, weren't you?
Yeah, years ago. I can't think how long ago.
Mm. What's changed then? Why have you come here?
No money. People don't have money. That's what's changed. So having a big setup with high overheads is no longer appropriate. I think mean and lean is the way to go.
Presumably it's not that cheap being in this part of London, though?
No, well that's my problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have a room,
yes,
and I can man it on my own,
right,
or I can get one of the guys in to help, or I can go into another room, but I can keep costs down.
Yeah. So you generally work now without an assistant, I presume?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, I don't know what record making is now. Mm. It's just this sort of...
I was going to ask you that.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I don't know. I don't know really. It's if I do drums, I go in another room. If I'm doing a band, I go in another room. If I'm working with a singer, I don't want anyone in the room. You know, it sort of works out quite well.
Mm. Do you do vocals in the same room then? You have them standing
right here,
breathing down your neck.
Yeah, which works very well, apart from when they're no good.
Right.
Because then you're not in a position to go, what are we going to do?
What about the design of the room here then? Have you got acoustic treatment going on?
No design at all.
It seems quite ambient to me.
Yeah, me too.
Does that bother you at all?
No.
No problems?
No problems. I think you can get used to anything.
Mm.
Absolutely anything.
Yeah, you haven't thought of sticking lots of foam things to the...
Yeah.
Are you going to do that?
No.
No.
No, I thought about it, I got bored. I don't think, you know what, it doesn't matter. Trevor and I talk about this quite a lot. He's had a room done in his house, and it's, I think John Flynn has done it. And he loves things, the room sounding good. I do as well, but you know, I can't see the point here in doing it. Because I like the room, I like the ambience. Yeah. And I'm quite near to the speakers. The bigs are only for when, something mad's going on. Works well.
Really good. So you're sort of known for being quite at the cutting edge of technology. Didn't you have a Sinclair at one time? Or used the...
Yeah, I used it. That again was Trevor's. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how have things changed in terms of being at the bleeding edge of technology? Do you think things have improved? And
no, I might be going against the grain here, but I can't help but think technological advancements seem to make what is around available for more people. That seems to be what the advancements are. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And is that a good thing or not?
I don't know. Is YouTube a good thing? I don't know. You know, is Brideshead Revisited a better thing than spending the evening watching YouTube? Far be it for me to have an opinion on that. So I don't know.
Fair enough.
What do you think?
I don't know.
There we are.
Okay. What was your first big break then? How did you start making money then?
I had a hit when I was 22 or something with a group called Sniffing the Tears, called Driver's Seat, but I didn't know it was a hit. Or I did know it was a hit, but I didn't know what that meant. So that sort of went by the wayside, and then I became a freelance engineer and didn't earn anything until... I suppose then I worked with Trevor for a few years.
How did you get involved with Trevor?
He said, would I got a call, I didn't, the people who were managing me, would I engineer for Trevor? And I was busy doing something at the time, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to work for him. You know, it was that thing where he was very successful and I had the hump, inside I had the hump about him being successful. I don't want to work with him. Oh, or I'll do 3 days, And I turned up to do 3 days. and sort of ignored him. And unwittingly, that was what he wanted. He wanted someone to just get on with the job. And so we sort of worked well together, and that was it. And then those 3 days turned into how many years.
Right. So you had a fairly traditional role as being the engineer?
No, because I started playing guitar on all the records.
Right.
So the engineering just happened because someone had to be doing it.
Yeah.
And then we ended up co-producing a load of records together.
So did he know you were a guitarist when he employed you as an
kind of
engineer?
knew.
Right.
I'd mentioned it to him, but he hadn't really clocked it.
So did you walk in with your guitar when you turned up?
Oh, well, I brought it the first day
Yeah.
and shoved it in the back of the room. And then I think we were working on, it was probably Ferry Cross the Mersey with the Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And he wasn't there, and I just started playing the guitar over it. And according to him, because I don't remember this, he came running in and went, what's that? That's the guitar part. And I said, it's me. He said, you didn't, I said, I did tell you, you know, but you didn't listen. And then that was it, and I played on everything.
Right. Because in those days it was quite delineated the roles of people's jobs in the studios generally.
Kind of.
You know, I remember when I was a tape-op in the mid-80s, it would be frowned upon if you started having a musical opinion as a tape-op.
Well, that's what happened to me with Jerry Rafferty.
Right.
It was early 80s, and we were at Montserrat. And there was a guitar player called Richard Brunton, and I even remember the song. It was a song called Welcome to Hollywood, and I was engineering at the time, and they were doing this track, and it sounded really weird to me, and it sounded weird because Richard, I thought, was playing in the wrong inversion. He was sort of down here, but had he been up here, it would have spoke better. And so he came up to me, because we talked quite a lot, and he said, what did you think? And I said, I think you're playing the wrong inversion, I think it should be higher. And Jerry Rafferty said, what's this? What are you talking about? And Richard said, oh, you just said I should try playing an inversion higher. And Jerry Rafferty said to me, he said, you just do the engineering. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that seems to be a rarity in your career then. Most people have quite enjoyed your...
Sure, well, why not?
Yeah.
There's not much of a problem, is there?
No.
Anyone doing anything.
Well, that's more and more the case, I think, these days.
Sure, well, I think it has been for a while.
Yeah.
Writing a song, I remember writing a song with, I can't quite remember who it was, but there were a load of us in the room writing a song. And my engineer, Hef, had a few lyrical ideas. There he was, songwriter, not a problem.
What do you think are the biggest milestones in your career, or the most defining projects that you worked on over the years?
I don't know. 4, okay. This is Slave to the Rhythm, Propaganda, Annie Lennox Y, S Club 7, funnily enough, or Ronan, Boyzone. There's a song I did with him that I thought was indicative quite a lot, and Will, yeah.
Right.
Because that was, yeah, anyway, there you go.
And what's special about those particular projects? Was it the level of success, or just the enjoyment you had doing them in the studio?
Okay,
or?
so Propaganda was quite new. It was new ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Slave to the Rhythm was a lot of work, but I thought the end result, the actual single, was pretty good. Okay, what was the next? Annie. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, because a lot of people seem to like it. So that must go in. S Club 7, because I thought they were really good records, actually. Loads of them. I thought were excellent pop records of the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ronan, was it When You Say Nothing at All, or was it that other one? There was 2 in particular I did with him, and I thought they captured where he was very well. So I thought they were good. And Will, because Will had come out of Pop Idol and was people thought he was a pop idol, and I saw him as something else, which we spent quite a lot of time talking about, and then made a record to reflect what we talked about. So I thought that was quite good.
I see. So you just hung out with him for a bit and chatted and
loads.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an important part of
the
process?
Very. So actually, it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
I've just worked with someone called Jordan Sparks, who is this year's American Idol winner. I've done some tracks with her, and I've spent as long with her as it took for her to sing the songs. So she's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And funnily enough, in that she's very eloquent, and I didn't need to spend any more time with her.
Right.
It was all very clear.
Tell me a bit more about propaganda, because was that pre-MIDI? Was that kind of around the turn of MIDI, wasn't it? It was fairly
just around
challenging, sort of. Because if you were to hear it now, not knowing that, you'd assume it was all knocked up in a computer.
Well, it was.
How was that put together? Was it a Fairlight?
Fairlight. It was a Fairlight. It was a PPG Wave.
Yeah.
And the synclavier.
Right.
And most of it was written. The music was written by this guy, Michael Mertens, in the group, and he was classically trained, so his chords are very interesting. And the music, I suppose, was myself and a guy called Andy Richards, who, and we'd sit in the studio 3 actually, which is just there, and we do mad things with the gear. It was all about the gear, really.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we pushed it. Actually, there's another record that was quite, but for different reasons. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome was the first record that I think anyone had done. You know that idea of people don't bother now, but digitally copying and extending. Do you know what I'm talking about? You have a digital multitrack, you copy it onto another digital multitrack, you offset it, and then copy it back. So suddenly you've got twice as long.
Right.
You know, chop and change all the stuff with offsets. I think it was the first time anyone had done that, and it was on that record.
Right.
Well, that was quite interesting.
Yeah, because you just cut and paste it in Pro Tools and you're done in 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
Do you think records are better than they were 30 years ago?
Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look here. How's his drumming? No, his drumming's all the way through. I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
There you go. Are records better?
Yeah. You think?
Nah, of course they're not. But then 30 years ago, we were listening to Frank Sinatra the other day, and I suspect it's in the 60s. In the 60s, yeah. The records he made in the 60s were probably better than the records we made in the 80s. And then maybe you could wind the clock back further. Maybe what Mozart did was better than blah, blah, blah.
So then why be at the bleeding edge of technological changes then if you can make better things with the older
technology? Because I find it interesting. I find it really interesting, and also that's how it is, isn't it? I mean, just going back to this YouTube thing, that's the one that gets me. I think there was a program on Channel 4 early morning that I videoed because it was called, I think it's called TV is Dead. And I thought, oh, this sounds quite interesting. I've watched loads of this program. And what they were saying is that the kids under the age of 20 basically don't watch TV anymore. They use their computers. So they're doing whatever it is that they're doing, it's via their computers, be it films that they download or YouTube. But YouTube's fascinating because it's all short and really bad quality, and they don't care about either of those things. I don't know what that tells us about society.
Well, I think certainly music's less important to the kids of today, isn't it?
Well, that's a polite way of saying irrelevant.